Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. Now you might have a couple of these little Aputure M9 lights lying around. They're relatively cheap, they're USB powered, they give out a lot of light output considering the size, and the actual light quality that comes out of them is very good in terms of colour rendition and CRI and all that kind of thing. In other words, if you use this, your skin tones are not going to look all weird and funky. And it got me thinking, could I actually use these little lights as a key light? In other words, could I combine a few of them together, put some modification in front of them and create a nice, soft, very lightweight but portable light unit? And I wanted to do this without having to buy any extra gear and just use the photography kit that I've got lying around and create something that's lightweight, portable, and it actually gives out enough power that I could use it as a key light. So the M9s actually come with this little cold shoe mount, which fixes with a screw at the back, and you can actually remove the cold shoe adapter at the bottom, or you can actually keep that attached. Now when I was looking through all the brackets and things I've got from many years of photography work, I remembered I had a long bracket which had two 1/4-20 screws on the end and space for a 1/4-20 in the middle. So I used all three Aputure lights adjacent to one another on this bracket using the screws and then also screwing into the middle hole. And at the bottom of this bracket there is a screw for a light stand. But by doing so you actually lose the ability to actually tilt the light. Therefore I use an umbrella adapter, which again you might have one of these lying around, and if you don't, they're really cheap. And then I attached the whole bracket directly to the top of the umbrella holder. Now this meant that I could actually swivel the light forwards and backwards and change the angle. Now the light stand I also used was very small and lightweight, very compact, and it's great if you're going to be sat down doing interview type of stuff, but if you need to do full length and you need a little bit of height, then I suggest using a slightly longer light stand. I went for this because it's simply the smallest and lightest light stand that I currently have. Now the modifier that I used for this is an umbrella softbox, and this is a really good but cheap light modifier. It folds down just like an umbrella, but it allows you to contain and direct the light just as you would with a softbox, without the size or the weight or the clumsiness of a softbox. It gives a wonderful soft quality of light, and it also means that I don't need to use a different external reflector hanging on another light stand in front of the Aputures. I can just connect it directly into the bracket, and then I've got this all-in-one lightweight solution. It is ultra portable and totally battery operated, which means no wires, no cables, no need for big heavy V-mount batteries or anything like that. And if you do need to charge these, a simple USB power bank will give you plenty of power. Now I'm actually lighting myself with this setup right now. I'll just zoom out so you can actually see a little bit of the light, and it is around about arm's length away. I'm shooting at ISO 800. I'm shooting at f5.6 on the Sony a7 III, and I'm using the Sigma 10-20 wide angle lens. So obviously if I was using a faster lens like an f1.8 or an f2.8, but ISO 800 on the Sony is not going to give you really any noise. The image is going to be still really clean. So you can get away with using slightly lower powered lights, just bumping up the ISO and still getting a really good exposure on the face. Now hopefully you can see that this umbrella softbox is containing all the light. There's very little spill coming out through the back, and the three M9s are all rigged together to create this really nice light source, which is still very soft. And the lights are actually right back here on this section here. So obviously there is this depth here where the light is traveling and it's spreading out, and it's giving us a very even exposure right across the umbrella. Now I'm going to actually remove the umbrella so you can see what's going on. So at the back we've got a zip, which I'll just pull down, and then we've got a little cord here to loosen. I'll just open up this whole unit and I'll show you what's going on at the back. So I'll just take these off, and this is what we have. You can obviously turn them on and off independently as we wish. And all of the lights are set to maximum power, and that's what we're going to really need. We're going to need to keep these set at maximum power. I've also removed the actual diffusion plastic, which normally comes with that, because I don't need any diffusion on the light. By removing that you actually get a little bit more light output. All the diffusion is obviously happening here in this umbrella. So I'll just take this off so you can see what's going on, and it is quite a powerful light source. You can see, especially without any modification, wow, that is pretty bright. I'm going to be majorly overexposed. I'm going to put this further away and I'm going to come back so I don't actually blow myself out too much. Right, so this is the umbrella. Super quick, just like a regular umbrella. And that is it, you know? It's a really nice modifier. Okay, so here we have a very simple setup right now. We've got the Sony a7 III. We're shooting at ISO 400. We're at f2 on the Sigma 35 1.4 art. We've got the aperture ×3 in the bracket, obviously, with the umbrella softbox just here, just at past arm's length right now. So framing like this, which is 35mm, is relatively wide right now. The light doesn't have to be in the scene to give us this nice soft light. I've got the light obviously off to about 45 degrees camera left to my right, and it's feathered as well right now, so we're actually using the edge of the light to create an even softer light. If I was to turn the light directly at me, you'll see there is a little bit more exposure on the face there. It's a little bit more direct. I'll just feather this off a little bit, turn the light off. See, it's just coming into scene there. I'll pull it back. And there we go, that's slightly feathered as well. I'll bring it in a bit closer. Maybe just out of frame here. A little bit more of a split lighting. You can see what we get right there. And then I'll bring it right just about on axis with the camera, so it's more of a front light, bit of a loop lighting kind of pattern, and that's what we get there. Now obviously, like I said, we're shooting at f2. I could actually open up my aperture a little bit more. Okay, so I've opened up my aperture at f1.4 right now on the Sigma 35, and we're at ISO 100, so we're at the lowest ISO. We're shooting at 24 frames per second, and actually you can see right now that the exposure on me is really good using these 3 little aperture lights. We are obviously shooting at 1.4, which is very, very shallow, but I have got face detect on, continuous autofocus, and you'll see the camera will keep me in focus as I move in and out. Now I wouldn't actually shoot at f1.4, I'd actually be shooting at f2, so let's do that. Okay, so now I'm at f2, ISO 100, and we're at 24 frames per second, 1/50th of a second on the shutter speed. Exposure is a little bit down, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bump the ISO up. We're shooting at f2, ISO 400, 35mm. We've got the light off about just under a meter away right now. We're getting quite a lot of good exposure on me. I'm going to pull the light back a little bit just to dim that down a little bit, and there we go. So that's it, that's the Aputure M9 portable key light solution. Again, it's not something that I might go and use on a professional job. I probably would use a standard Aputure 120D or one of my Generator 1200 mono bright lights, or even an Aputure half W, one of those lights where I've got a lot of fine tuning control. But if you've only got a couple of these little lights lying around, I could probably get away with doing this with even just 2 lights and probably using a faster lens. You can still get nice soft light quality. Anyway, hopefully you found that video useful. If you did, you know what to do. I'll catch you in the next one.